My mom, Allison Ramsey, runs an adult store. One day, I'm so tired that I doze off inside, only to end up accidentally trapped in one of those pleasure beds. When Mr. Palmer from next door walks in, he mistakes me for the store's latest doll and proceeds to pull down my hot pants. I'm going out to pick up some goods. Can you help watch the shop for a bit? The faint sound of Mom's voice reached my ears, and I mumbled a few vague responses before sinking into a deep sleep. I had no idea how long I had been asleep, but when I woke up, I felt that something was off. I was lying face down on the bed, my hands secured with something soft and rubbery, and the bed itself was folded into an unusual position that closely conformed to the curves of my body. I could clearly feel that my buttocks were raised high, and my legs had been spread apart. I didn't need to look to know it was a deeply embarrassing position. The space before me was dim, as though my head was covered by a nearby curtain. Wait, what was going on? A wave of panic set in. I struggled with all my strength against the restraints binding my hands, only to realize I couldn't break free at all. It finally dawned on me that my family ran an adult store, and this must be the new pleasure bed we'd recently ordered. The bed was equipped with mechanisms that could only be unlocked through external settings once triggered. I had been completely exhausted earlier, so I just crashed on a random bed in the storeroom without even noticing it was the latest model of pleasure bed. I would usually sleep on my stomach and move around in my sleep, so I must have accidentally triggered the mechanism while dozing off, and now this single bed had locked my hands in place. The bed split into two below my waist, lifting my lower abdomen and hips and leaving my buttocks raised high. It was as if I was positioned for, what was I supposed to do now? I shouted a couple of times, but there was no response. It only then struck me that before I fell asleep, Mom mentioned she was going out to pick up some goods and asked me to watch the shop. Hey, Allison. Just then, I suddenly heard the voice of Mr. Palmer, a customer, coming from the doorway, and it was getting closer. Oh no, Mom did say Mr. Palmer would come by later to settle the bill. Panic surged through me. I struggled desperately, only to find that while the restraints looked soft, there was no way to break free. Where's everyone? I thought I told them I'd come by to settle the bill today. Mr. Palmer's voice drew closer and closer until it sounded just a few steps away. Frozen in this embarrassing position, I felt my face flush crimson, and in my panic, I froze completely, not daring to move a muscle. Is this a new doll that just arrived? Mr. Palmer's words sent my heart leaping into my throat. The next second, I felt a pair of warm, dry hands land on my thigh. They then slowly slid upward until they were inside my hot pants. The weather was sweltering, and when sleeping at home, I naturally dressed lightly. Thus, my hot pants were barely long enough to cover my buttocks. The texture feels pretty good. It's quite realistic and even warm, Mr. Palmer remarked as he fondled me. The bizarre sensation made me clench my teeth, too afraid to make a sound. If anyone were to discover I was being mistaken for a doll, it would be over for me. But then, to my horror, I felt those hands beginning to tug at the waistband of my hot pants. Hot pants were naturally very short, and for comfort while sleeping, I hadn't even fastened the waistband. In fact, they could practically be slipped off with just a gentle tug. I didn't expect it to feel so real. This new batch of dolls really is something else, Mr. Palmer said excitedly. He seemed to be leaning right over me from behind, and I could distinctly feel the warmth of his breath as he exhaled and spoke. My heart raced with a mix of panic and anger, yet I didn't dare move a muscle. I was terrified of the embarrassment that would follow if I were discovered. What should I do? What on earth could I do? Mr. Palmer had already pulled down my hot pants, leaving only my thin underwear underneath. It even has panties? And with a lace trim, too. Mr. Palmer's voice grew increasingly excited. He kept stroking my buttocks, and the warmth of his touch made my heart pound wildly in my chest. Suddenly, I felt something warm, damp, and soft press against my thigh. Was that Mr. Palmer's mouth? In that instant, it felt like a bolt of lightning flashed through my mind. Realizing this possibility, I was flooded with shame and panic. Yet for some reason, I also felt a faint, thrilling stir of excitement.